What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unplayable. We have a ton of awesome new Star Wars Unlimited cards to cover, so we are not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. The first card is a green hero leader. It's Hera, and David's very excited. Hera is...
There you go!
She's a green hero leader, as I mentioned, Spectre 2, and she has an ability that says ignore the aspect penalty on Spectre cards you play. Super cool. Epic action, she flips on 6 resources. And so on her unit side, she is a 4/6. Ignore the aspect penalty on Spectre cards again. And on attack, you may give an experience token to another unique unit. How you feeling about this card, David?
Well, there's obviously green hero. I have declared myself allegiant and loyal. And this kind of goes against the green hero loyalty because it's saying, let's play not green stuff.
This is a way for you to like cover your bases. If you ever like a card that's outside of green hero, you can be like, oh, but I can play with Hera.
Yeah, I could play a green hero Hera with a green base, mono green hero, but actually there's like red, yellow, and blue stuff in there. So obviously, I think this is a little hard to evaluate because we don't have the whole card pool of Spectre cards. We've got Kanan Jarrus unit in blue. We've got Ezra in yellow. We've got the brand new card revealed today that we'll get to in yellow. What else? Do we have anything else revealed?
Yeah, we have Sabine as well.
Sabine. Yeah. So there is definitely some stuff happening. Is there enough right now? I don't think she's very good at the moment, right? Yeah. But thematically,
that's funny though, right? Because I feel like Sabine, Ezra, and Kanan are all very like good ground units.
Yeah,
but they don't synergize together particularly well. Like they're
all doing different things.
Yeah, they're kind of just like good on their own individually. So maybe there's going to be something that ties them all together later.
Yeah,
I think is Kanan the only one right now that references Spectre as far as like its general ability, which I think is like a mill ability.
Yeah.
So even that's kind of funny to me. Of just like that's
Sabine's thing is
hers is like colors, right?
Yeah, which is obviously more able to happen with
Hera.
Stuff.
Yeah, kind of indirectly works together with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So thematically, I mean, to be able to have like a fully Rebels deck, this is where like the people who are playing for fun, A+ on theme.
Agreed.
I've still not gotten that on attack ability to actually go off, which feels bad when you compare her to Tarkin, when Tarkin's just like any Imperial unit and he's got 7 health. Like, at least she's out of like Force Choke range, because Force Choke is like kind of my measure of how survivable a leader really is. So that's good. So yeah, I don't know. She's hard to evaluate right now. I think she's going to be one of those cards we constantly come back to as more sets are released and we see Spectre cards theoretically for years and years to come.
I do like that currently. So Hera is a rare card. The rest of the units are uncommon, it looks like. And so I do like that it feels like a very just like easy to build deck for somebody who just likes the characters. Like they like that show. They want to see them work together. Cool. It's not going to be crazy expensive to build one. And it's like a here you go kind of deck.
Kind of a fun thematic like.
Yeah, with cards that we've all talked about are good cards. I mean, as standalone cards, they play well. You know, you likely will slot them in a lot of cases for some of those hero decks. So yeah, I don't think this is necessarily going to be busted anytime soon. But I do like the path they've taken to kind of make this.
Right. So, speaking of that, I mean, we've only talked constructed, but like in draft or sealed, in some ways her ability is like, oh, that's great because you're not going to pay the cost, but then you have to draft these cards that you're most likely not going to have.
Yeah, you're not going to see them as often as other cards.
She definitely not a card, a leader you're probably reaching for in those settings unless you absolutely have to have a green.
Yeah, she seems kind of terrible in draft.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll say 2 things. I love cards that let you consider deck building in a different way. So she cheats the deck building rules essentially and allows you to put stuff in your deck that you normally wouldn't otherwise because of her ability. I always love that stuff in card games. I don't love that she doesn't have an actual ability on the front side.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's only a deck building ability for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
Which
it feels like they could have just been
feels bad.
Here's a buff to the Spectre units in the deck as well. Just something small that
something
makes it feel like there's a reason to do it.
I mean, even something that costed like 6 or 7 or 8, some huge ability that was like each Spectre unit gains +1/+1 for each other Spectre unit. Something like that like ties it all together.
Yeah.
I think would have been really, really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next card, we've got Infiltrator's Skill. It is a 1-cost upgrade. It's red. Attached unit gains Saboteur, and it also gives that unit +1/+1.
How have you guys felt with Saboteur as a keyword? I don't feel like I've personally been like blown away by it. Like it does put like a little bit of a stop on somebody just going full Sentinel, make a Voltron win. But I don't know. I feel like to like include a card in my deck just for that ability. I'm not necessarily the most excited about this card, but like it seems fine.
I think it's okay. Yeah, to me, the best part about Saboteur is that it goes through shields, which I used to forget all the time, and now I don't anymore.
I will absolutely forget that.
If you're playing against a Luke, sometimes you just need a way to get through all the shields that he's handing out, and this can do that. I've been playing a lot of Han, and so you get the whatever the rogue card is. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like the 2/4 that has raid 2 and Saboteur. Rogue Operative, that one. And that is really, really good against Luke. So more Saboteur. I feel like this is a sideboard card, though. Like, if you're playing against very specific decks that either have a ton of Saboteur or a bunch of Sentinels, you slot it in there. But otherwise, I don't know if this really belongs, like, in your main deck.
Yeah, my very early prediction is that we're going to see in the set 1 meta, I feel like we're going to see a lot of Luke because his ability is just very strong as a leader compared to like some of the other leaders that we've seen. There's always value on shielding up a unit. So I could see a lot of scenarios like where exactly what you said about sideboard. It's been interesting because most of the conversations I've seen online about this card has like, some people have said it's if you have a red deck, this is like your first 3 you put in. Which totally very surprised me.
Green Squadron A-Wing.
Also true. I guess, but this is also not villain or hero. So
yeah, that's true.
It's flexible, but like I don't know.
The thing that I do like, because there are times when it's like one Sentinel can just really mess up your plans. That this can really help. I do sometimes even just some of the point breaks in this game, like takedown at 5. You've got Dooku killing something at 4. Like there, I don't remember, Mike, if this was our game or if I was playing someone else, but I remember getting ready to Dooku a Dooku. And then, so you dropped this on a Dooku.
It was Vader's lightsaber.
Oh, because it was 1 more health. Yeah. Because Vader's lightsaber gave, but same concept, right?
Yeah,
like
same concept.
It was like these breakpoints where like, okay, I was planning because of my breakpoint that I could Dooku your Dooku, and then you made it impossible, and I think I lost that game too. So some of these times I'm like, just 1 extra health is not insignificant in this game.
Needed.
Totally,
that's totally fair.
I feel like with this game more than most other card games, 1 costs need to really do something special for me to like it. I think in other games where you start with 1 resource, having those solid 1 costs to really get the game rolling is so important. But this one's starting point is 2. So that's kind of where I'm looking turn 1 is to play a 2 cost. So for me, 1 costs have to really do something for me to just like auto put it in. So yeah, hearing that this is like must include 3 copies, I'm like, okay, I want to see that deck list.
The only other thing that has my attention is I really want to build like Voltron decks where you just stack a bunch of upgrades on something and go face. Yeah. And this is a great Voltron card because you could stack a Chewie up to 12 damage, then you drop a cell block guard, and I'm like, oh crap, I don't have Overwhelm.
Yeah, this is a way to get through that.
And now I have to like attack this stupid little thing. So I haven't tried the Chewie Voltron with red. It's only been blue-green. So maybe I'll have to test it out. I like, there's a place for this card for sure, but I
I wouldn't call it an auto include. If we were going just based off of the art, it would be an auto include though.
Yeah, sure. I think this is the best art we've seen.
It's so sick.
It's my hot take, but so I think this is the best art. Yeah.
I don't think it's that hot of a take. I think it's a great card.
It's fantastic. All right, moving on. Next card we've got Devastator. The Devastator,
a legendary,
is a gigantic.
Oh, it is a legendary.
10 cost space unit, green and villain. It is a 10/10, and it has Sentinel and Overwhelm. And when played, you may deal damage to a unit equal to the number of resources you control. And it is legendary, as you guys mentioned.
Okay, so turn 3. Or not turn 3, but turn resource 3. Yeah, turn 2 on 3. You drop the DJ Death Star. You know, turn 4, you ram it into something and you play a resupply. Turn 5, you're just playing all resupply day. DJ, and then maybe even command to get this out quick.
And you have
I haven't tried it.
Left.
I haven't tried it.
It's a very specific draw.
But you're telling me there's a chance.
All you got to do is get Mahdi out there, kill Mahdi, ready this thing, so you're hitting for 20 in a round.
Exactly.
Easy. Game over.
I mean, this is very cool. It is very powerful, but it does cost 10.
Yeah.
How often in games that you guys have played do you get to 10 resources, even when you're ramping?
Not often, and we don't have a well-tuned set list, so.
But more cards could make this easier to get.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Of course.
You know,
sure,
it's definitely possible. Yeah. It's very powerful.
Yeah,
I hope that it's playable because it's a badass legendary, gigantic capital ship, whatever. Like it deserves to be strong and powerful and end games.
To instantly just snipe something on the board, like take out one of their ground units with this that's actually causing problem, and then you basically lock up the space side because a 10/10 is going to be a nightmare to get through. I can see it being cool, but
you get Piet out there and you get ambushed with this thing.
So turn 2, you play your super laser tech. Turn 3, you put that in your resources by attacking with it, and then put a resupply into your resources. Then turn 5, you have 7 resources, right? Then you Galactic Ambition and play this, dealing 10 damage to yourself. I was wondering if someone would
say that.
Now you're onto something.
You deal 10 damage to yourself, but you get to deal 7 damage to one of your opponent's units, and you have a gigantic Sentinel Overwhelm. And then your opponent plays Waylay, and you're sad.
Galactic Ambition.
But for a brief moment, you live the dream.
There you go. Yeah, I've got nothing to respond.
I think this is like, if I pull this legendary, I hope that it's really cool. I feel like initially it's going to take me a while before I'm just like, thank goodness this is the one I pulled. But it's a cool card.
It is very cool. All right, we can move on to Ardent Sympathizer. It's a red 3-cost ground unit, and it's a 3/3. And while you have initiative, it gets +2/+0. No, Jim doesn't like it.
Not a fan.
Why?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. Why not, Jim?
Sure. I think this only goes in a deck that's trying to go very wide, low to the ground, early wins. But I don't know. If that's what you're doing, then you're also probably going to have more units in your opponent, and so they'll just take the initiative back. So trying to get the initiative might be tricky. We might have to end a turn early. Also, kind of funny that if let's say I start the turn with the initiative and my opponent just takes it. It just loses the 2-0, which would be such a alpha move, but I'd love to see that happen at least once. I don't know. It's just a potential 5/3, which feels like a slightly overstated 3-cost, where I'm like, I probably want something that's a little bit more synergistic.
Yeah, I think this is overperformed in some of our games, where the initiative has been a little bit more of a fight. Of if I don't take initiative, all of a sudden your little 3-drop can one-shot my 5 health, whatever. Is it amazing? No. I think it'll be better in draft, obviously, at common, and not being hero villain locked.
Because that one's so much more value-based than it is combo / synergy.
Right. I think the trooper tag is important. Obviously, we saw General Tagi given it when he's played, given experience token each up to 3 trooper units.
I love how nobody knows how to pronounce his last name.
Is there an official pronunciation?
I have no idea. I tried to look it up. I couldn't figure it out.
Good. I've been saying Tagi, but maybe it,
No, I just don't know. Everybody says something different.
I think Golden Dice, they were calling him Soggy Toggy, so that's been in my head. Soggy Toggy.
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah. So Soggy Toggy giving some experience tokens out to this guy feels okay. But so yeah, not amazing, but something to keep an eye on.
Okay. Yep. All right. Next card, we've got Search Your Feelings. It's a 4-cost blue villain event. Search your deck for a card and draw it.
That is an expensive tutor.
It is.
But it's a tutor.
Yes.
Is it computer search? That's what I need to know.
Isn't computer search free?
It's discard 2 cards to do.
Oh, so not free.
Yep.
But everything else in that game is free, so...
I mean, we're talking about the very first set of Pokemon ever for those who are following along at home. But that card was freaking just amazing in a game's first set. So I saw this and that's immediately I was like, uh-oh. But 4 feels and in a game where everything costs definitely feels
it feels a little expensive,
costly. But if you're trying to get a combo, I mean, this is a combo deck stream.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure. If you need, I mean, the weird thing about it is that you're not playing the card that you draw from it the turn that you draw it, most likely, unless you're at a ridiculous number of resources. But if you need to set up a play, if you need to set up a play for a future turn, and you have the resources available, maybe you are already sort of winning the board. You don't necessarily need to commit more that turn. This could be useful.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I do like that you don't have to reveal it, so you're playing mind games too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, because I was thinking like because I'm thinking blue villain. If I go searching for Dooku and I'm just holding Dooku, and like you just know I have Dooku, I'm already winning without playing it because you're thinking, oh crap,
you're like, I can't play this.
I gotta play around this thing. So you're making suboptimal plays while Dooku's just sitting in my hand.
Yeah.
In a controlled deck, this feels awesome because you just go get that answer that you're needing. Especially if you can kind of keep wiping the board and prolong the game. It's like, all right, I got the card.
If you're playing some kind of like red, blue, I'm imagining like I have a like Vader control deck. This could go in there, I think, because you could play this alongside a Force Choke and still, like when you have 6 resources, you still can kill something that has 5 health. And you get to find whatever your powerful thing is that you want to do on turn 7 when Vader comes out. So I think this has potential. The meme is when we start talking about the art, it's time to move on to the next card. But the art is so sick on this card.
It is really good.
Yeah. What is that in the foreground there?
That's Luke with you ever seen Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah. Oh, wait. I was okay. I got it now. I see the face location. I was looking at the right side and missed that piece.
We at some point we're gonna do a video of all the times where Jim didn't know something really basic Star Wars that we're just gonna clip all together.
It's all good. Hey, when Harry Potter the card game comes out for round 2, I will know all of the lore, be the biggest, fan of all time, and you guys can read it and weep, baby.
I'll be the one asking questions. Okay, next card is Mining Guild TIE Fighter. It is a 1-cost space unit. It's a 1/2, and it says on attack, you may pay 2 resources. If you do, draw a card. What you guys think? Thumbs up from Jim.
This is a 1 cost that I do kind of like now because like the space side is typically more understated. So you're probably not trying to go crazy over on the space side, but man, is that annoying to potentially have them just keep drawing cards. I feel like this is going to go in a deck where you want a lot of like lower costed minions or units in there. So I think it's cool and just that like little bit of annoyance that it's just like, I don't want to ping a damage on this thing twice to kill it, but I have to because they keep drawing cards and this is annoying.
So you're saying it could go in some kind of like swarm deck where you use this to like refill your hand and play more cheap stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. At least my initial thoughts on it is that's kind of like a little sweet space. I don't think it's like crazy busted or anything, but I think it's just an annoying little card.
Yeah. My brain immediately went to Boba Fett with this. I think because he's always getting like, oh, here's one resource back, or here's, you know, two at different times, and you having something to do with those resources to maximize that ability is super important. So so for this, just to get an extra card, extra or value. even the fact that it is a one cost unit to be able to, oh, I got my one resource back, now I'm playing this Mining Guild TIE Fighter. So I could see it finding a place in Boba. To a much lesser extent, the IG-88 deck, which I think IG-88 is just terrible, but
it's trash.
But IG-88 does want a lot of units, and so having these one cost options is okay. So
yeah,
I'm crossing my fingers that we'll see something that makes IG-88 amazing. But
the swarm deck that Jim is talking about is an IG-88 deck for sure.
It is right now.
Come on, baby, we can do it.
Yep.
Last thing I'll say about this card, I love that the ability is sort of thematic. It's like you're spending a little bit of money, and then you're like mining a card from your deck with this TIE Fighter. Yeah. Like, well, it's just going to mine while it's attacking. It's just kind of fun.
Sure, we're gonna make a comment on the artwork on that.
Also good.
All right, time for the next
It'll
card.
Look great, hyperspace. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Next up, we've got Lothal Insurgent. It's a 2-cost yellow hero ground unit. It's a 3/2 rebel, has the rebel tag, so that's relevant for things. Yep. And when played, if you played another card this phase, each opponent draws a card, then discards a random card from their hand. What's the word?
Cool.
I like it. I think if you just for the stats in the title alone, just to be a 2/3/2 with rebel is enough for a conversation. At common, this is going to be great in draft.
It's also a hero unit, which is relevant with Luke. So
yeah,
you know, you go like R2 plus a shield on turn 1, and then this plus a shield on turn 2, and you can probably, you know, trade with whatever your opponent has without losing your units.
Yeah. So what do you think about the when played ability? I think that's the point of like debate about this card.
I think it's fine. I think it's okay.
Yeah, they're trying to give some identity to the color yellow, that they're like, oh, you don't get to pick the drawback of it. So it more than likely isn't going to like crazy mess up someone's turn, but it very well could.
Yeah, I think ruining somebody's plan is like has value, right? Like they spend their, you know, first couple turns or whatever, like crafting a strategy, and then you remove a card from their hand. Now they have to rethink their strategy. I think that there's value to that. You know, the downside is that obviously like you have almost as much of a chance of discarding a card that they don't want and then drawing them into a card that they do want. So
yep.
Yeah, I think it's good, but not like insane.
Right. Yeah.
I think the other piece though is like where you have to play another card first. Like they're going to be able to do ability. The first thing they want. So it's not going to mess up their plan that turn too often.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Next, we've got a rare base. We've got Jetta City. Jetta City, like all the other rare bases, gives you 25 health. And it has the epic action. Give a non-leader unit -4/-0 for this phase. It's a big debuff.
It is. And I think like first thought at this one, there was like, okay, -4 attack this turn. So that's 4 health that you're gaining, but that's only 29. So the math isn't mathing. But what's way more important is that you can attack into that unit and not take damage back. So you're, you know, preventing the attack to you, but also being able to eliminate it without taking the reverse hit is pretty sweet on this card.
Yeah. And I think we had this conversation in Discord, but and this may be very niche situation. I never know if what the correct pronunciation. But the situation of like when you're running against green and overwhelming barrage is a threat, like this brings down the potency of it, or at least it's like, okay, they've got one unit, and if they overwhelming barrage, then they wipe my board. You know, you pop this. If you can't get rid of the unit, like this is like at least give you another turn to kind of stabilize. Or get rid of the unit, because you do that all the time to me, Mike. Anytime I play any green, you never let me have a unit.
I hate getting hit by overwhelming barrage, so I try very hard not to.
And then the one time I do have a unit, it's like, oh, finally I get my overwhelming barrage and I like stabilize.
Like but -4.
Yeah, if you're like, oh crap. Yeah, but you do have to do it preemptively. Like you have to anticipate it. You can't.
Yeah, which is cool.
React
I mean,
to it.
That's a fun sort of like skill check. Is, you know, going into the turn where you have 5 resources, Like, do you feel the pressure to claim before you might otherwise want to, so that you could do this first action the following turn? I think that's an interesting decision. Yeah,
I like this better than Tarkin Town, the red one. But
I for some reason I love Tarkin Town. I think I have so much fun playing that base, but I do think that this is equally powerful, or maybe possibly more powerful. It lets you, it is a lot more flexible, because it can help you prevent damage to your own base. It can help you keep your units alive. Mm-hmm. It can help you hit breakpoints for things, like cards that want your opponent's units to be at X power or less or whatever. So I do, obviously really like this card, but I got a soft spot for Tarkin Town. All right, next card. We've got Just revealed a few hours ago. This is Greedo. Greedo is a 1-cost ground unit, just yellow, not a villain, just yellow. He's just a bounty hunter trying to get by.
He follows the cash.
Exactly. He's a 3/1, and when defeated, you may discard a card from your deck. If it's not a unit, deal 2 damage to a ground unit. David, tell me what you think.
Love Greedo. Love Greedo. Yeah, the fact that Greedo's just yellow makes it really interesting. I think that 3/1 stat line for 1 is awesome. The stormtroopers in red, obviously have the same thing, but having this accessible in yellow again makes it great for that Boba Fett deck. Again, when you have 1 resource and you need something to be able to use, could be good for IG-88. As I say it, but that when defeated, obviously the events we're seeing from yellow are so good, and you just want to throw them all in your deck. So being able to potentially not just do 3 back when you're defeated, but to do 2 more to another unit for 1, that seems so. The value there is so strong.
Yeah, you can potentially 2-for-1 your opponent with a 1-cost card.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
So good.
And you can have Greedo and Han Solo on the battlefield without aspect penalties. That's a dream scenario.
Yeah, you can play Greedo in your Han Solo deck. I'm now wondering if I should put this in the Han deck that I've been playing a lot.
Friends forever.
It's a very good card.
I think it's a must include 3 of. So,
well, all right. Let's move on to the next one. We've got Syndicate Lackeys, a 5-cost yellow ground unit, 5/4, ambush. That's it.
With great art.
Yep, great art. All right, cool. Okay, we can move on to this guy.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler said it in the stream. Yeah. He said, "Hey, we anticipate this being a great draft card." Yeah,
yeah. I think you nailed it.
I do agree though that the art is pretty sick.
Yeah,
yeah. Now good value in draft we're great with, but 5 cost for 5 damage on a unit.
We love drafting.
Where I want to be.
Ooh, this card.
Yeah, this next card. Speaking of constructed, playable, very powerful cards, we've got No Good to Me Dead. It's a 2-cost yellow villain event. Exhaust a unit. That unit can't ready this round.
So good.
So this round, for anybody who's confused, this round includes the regroup phase. The regroup phase happens at the end of the round in this game rather than at the beginning of the round like in other games.
Yep. This card seems amazing.
Yes, it does.
This is the card, if you're playing against Vader, you're usually holding back your Leia's, your, what's the Sanctuary card, anything for exhausting of I can't just kill this thing. And this costs 2.
Yeah.
And I get to exhaust it and it stays exhausted next round.
Yeah. You get to exhaust it twice, basically.
Whew. Yeah, which it's also I was thinking my Voltron strategies are out the window if I'm playing a yellow villain deck. So
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to run some hand hate.
Yep.
Speaking of hand hate,
I'm very surprised this card doesn't say non-leader unit because of how oppressive it is when you knock out their leader. But man,
it's pretty rude to do this multiple times in a row to a leader. But yeah, I definitely expect this to be one of the most played yellow villain cards because of that reason.
How could you not? It's going to get interesting with how powerful all the yellow events are like how many yellow events you include in your deck if you're going that direction. That's going to be.
Well, with Greedo, you include tons of them because you don't want to hit the units, so it makes sense.
But you also need to do damage, so you gotta play some units.
Good point. But speaking of hand hate,
yeah, here we go. Speaking of hand hate, we've got Spark of Rebellion. It's a 2-cost yellow hero event with the Spectre tag. And it says, look at an opponent's hand and discard a card from it. Simple, effective discard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can put this in your Hera decks, regardless of what other colors you're playing.
Yep. And Mike doesn't like to be overwhelming barrage, so he in his yellow hero decks,
I very much do not like being overwhelming barraged. So yeah, this could definitely slot in there.
You start with this and get rid of the overwhelming barrage, and you're a happy camper. So this is another powerful card, and obviously this is like the namesake of the set too, so it should be good.
True.
I do feel like in some other games, like people try to put value on like seeing your opponent's hand, and it's really hard to quantify that. Do y'all think because this game is like the back and forth mechanic that it actually has way more value or less value by like seeing the potential options that your opponent can do?
I think it has more value, but I still think it's overvalued in general.
I think I would agree with that. The choose the discard, very powerful.
That part's very good.
100%.
It is like symmetrical, right? You're paying 2 resources and spending this card to pull a card from your opponent's hand.
Yeah.
So I think this is like a totally fair card, but I don't know how good the information is.
Yeah, I do think when trying to figure out like should it go in your deck or should it not, mostly pay attention to is discarding from your opponent's hand going to progress your win strategy. If yes, put 3 in here. If not, like cool, but maybe not what you're trying to do. I think with more aggressive plans, you don't want to put this card in there because it's preventing you from pushing an agenda, but anything that's supposed to be a little bit more reactive, I could easily see slotting this card in.
I could see this being a sideboard card as well in decks that get wrecked by specific cards, right? It's like if you're playing a deck with a bunch of small stuff that would get wrecked by Overwhelming Barrage, you can slot this in against those specific decks.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is a little bit of a failsafe that you might be willing to even pay an aspect penalty for in some circumstances. Yeah. If there's a silver bullet to your strategy.
Dang, that's tough because 4 would be a lot for an effect like this, but
yeah,
I don't know.
The aspect penalty is so interesting because of the fact that it's always 2 more resources. It's harder to justify paying it for cheaper cards than more expensive cards in a weird way. It feels worse paying double for this card than paying 30% more for like Vigilance, for example, or Cunning, which we'll see next. So I don't know, just an interesting thought. Speaking of Cunning, we've got a absolute banger of an event. This is a 4-cost double yellow event, obviously. Choose 2 in any order. Return a non-leader unit with 4 or less power to its owner's hand. Give a unit +4/+0 for this phase. Exhaust up to 2 units. An opponent discards a random card from their hand.
Yeah.
Man.
Pretty crazy.
Are we taking bets on first ban card of Star Wars Unlimited?
Maybe. This card's insane.
But it's a legendary too. They're
all legendaries, but this is like 10 times better than all the other ones.
Yeah, every option seems very, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, this is nuts. I mean, imagine the scenario where you're playing an aggro deck and you want to kill your opponent and they've got units that might trade into your units. You just exhaust those units that would have traded into your units and give one of your units +4 attack and then get to go face for like 14.
Yeah. This is definitely one of those where like I don't mind paying the aspect penalty on this at all. Yeah. Like that's not going to feel bad to me. Whereas like sometimes like paying for aggression at 6 feels bad.
Yeah, aggression and command to me are like definitely not worth. Sometimes I think vigilance can be, but this is way like far and away the best.
I feel like this is the chase card of the set right now from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's so good. I think we've seen so many other great cards in yellow too that it just like goes right along the side of all of those cards. So I definitely think this will be one of the chase cards of the set.
The fact that you can almost like potentially just time walk somebody like on turn 3, like just puts you
exhaust
so
2 things and
far
bounce something.
ahead.
Like
yes,
just deal with 3 units easily for 4.
And then golly, what a card.
So the two yellow leaders we have right now are Boba Fett and Han Solo. I think both of them could run this in a double yellow, or even just not double yellow. I mean, you could just do either one with this and still feel fine. But Boba especially seems, his options and some of the villain stuff just seems like this is going to be
if you have the smaller Boba in play, the exhaust up to 2 units is real good. It's just so good.
I do feel like yellow has the, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like it has the least amount of like traits synergy. So for me, it feels like it might be a little bit tougher to play yellow, like with Jetta City, Han Solo kind of idea. But again, like I think like you said, this at 6 doesn't feel bad. I think I would be less likely to like try to force an all yellow deck just for the sake of this card when it's like it's just so good.
I feel like
don't even stress it.
I'm not sure, because you can play this on turn 3 if you're playing double yellow. And if you have the right board set up by then, I mean, even if you play this a little bit later, it's such a good card to play mid game to push a bunch of damage, or to just like blow your opponent out with the exhaustion or the bounce. So I don't know. The number 1, flexibility is amazing. Number 2, like this feels like it feels pretty control-y for like a card this cheap. I think, you're gonna see a lot of this.
Period.
Get used to it.
I mean, even just like look at Han Solo. So he comes out on 6, and you play this at 4. So it's
like comes out on turn before that.
When you have 6 resources, this is when you have 4. It's going to be so hard trying to figure out how to verbalize that in a way that is cohesive.
Well, because Han can use his ability to bring in a resource and then flip that turn.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So it's like turn 4 that you bring Han in.
Yep.
Okay, so
and then
you
can
do
have 7 resources.
Cunning on turn 3, and then the next turn get Han in.
Yeah.
And you are just so far ahead at that point. Goodness. That is some serious aggression.
It's a good card.
Maybe it works.
So that's all the cards that we had to talk about today. So I hope everybody enjoyed our terrible takes on all those cards, or amazing takes on all those cards, depending on how it takes out.
Let us know what your favorite card of today that wasn't Cunning.
Yeah,
because I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Give us a comment down below.
Definitely do that. While you're there, down below, we have a link to our Discord channel where you can tell us constantly what your favorite cards are or your least favorite cards are. And while you're down below as well, we have a big subscribe button somewhere in that area. You could hit that too. That would be great. We would love you. Yes. And that's it. So hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys next time.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, y'all.